My name is Emily Williams and I'm the Disability Advisor for the Leicester Diocese. I'm really pleased to be talking to you today. I'm going to briefly talk to you about disability and inclusion, specifically within the COVID-19 pandemic, and also what we as Christians and church family can do to respond. According to government statistics, there are 14.1 million people reporting as having a disability or additional need in the year 2018-2019. That's just over 20% of the population. 20%! That is a huge chunk of our society. A huge chunk of our society that is unable to access church due to environmental or societal barriers. These could include building access, unspoken rules of a service, reaction to behaviours deemed not normal, lack of a hearing loop, the incorrect presumption that a disability leaves an individual without the intellectual understanding to have a relationship with God, the opinion that individuals with disabilities are there to be ministered to and not as an integral part of God's family. These things, along with many others, leave so many individuals unable to attend church. And then COVID-19 happened. On the 23rd of March, Boris Johnson announced that the UK would be going into lockdown. This meant that for the first time in around 800 years, the church had to close its doors. Suddenly, online church was the new normal, and a lot of those barriers to inclusion were removed. You may or may not know that doing church online is not actually a new phenomenon. Many of the disabled community have been worshipping online for years as it was their only option. When all of our churching moved online, suddenly families and individuals were able to access and engage with their local church. This is so valuable. I encourage you to think about the changes you've made to your services that have happened since lockdown that have enabled that inclusion, and how you can carry that on in your services now that churches are beginning to open again. I encourage you to continue to stream so individuals staying at home can still access your services. There are so many things you can easily do to increase accessibility. So, the good news is that for many, the COVID-19 pandemic actually made church more accessible. The bad news is that the good news ends there. The Coronavirus Act removed the legal obligation for local authorities to provide necessary care, resulting in a loss of services. 76% of parents of children with disabilities have said that their support has stopped altogether. And that statistic is just for children. That's not looking at the support that adults receive. Blanket do not resuscitate orders left many fearing for treatment should they become ill. Around 2/3 of the deaths between March and May from COVID-19 were people with disabilities. That is more than 22,000 deaths. There has been a significant impact on individuals with disabilities' mental health, their communication, their learning. The overall impact of COVID-19 on the disabled community has been so huge. I don't know about you, but I can sometimes get really overwhelmed with all the negatives. It can feel like we're drowning in a sea of negatives and there's no way out. At the start of the pandemic, I actually had to stop listening and watching the news. It was just all too much. But I really think that as church families and as Christians, we are called to make small changes to help find that way out. In Galatians 3:28, Paul states that there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is no male and female, for you are all one in Jesus Christ. Difference, division, wrongful attitudes towards superiority were all abolished. We are all one in Christ Jesus. We are all one. I truly believe that as Christians and as church family, we are called to be just that, family. We need to talk to people. We need to ask those hard questions. We need to find out what the barriers are in our church, and we need to address them. Some of those changes will be so small you'll wonder why you didn't do them years ago. And some of those changes might be a little bit bigger and they might take a bit more thought and a bit more planning. But there is always an answer. Now, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by this. Consistently taking small steps is a great way to do it. I don't want you to feel alone. You are always welcome to get in touch with me. There are resources on the Diocese website for you. There are plenty of great books you can read. You are never alone. I've been so encouraged by so many churches' responses to this pandemic. I've heard so many positive stories. Moving to online church, doing and delivering food shops for those that are isolating, collecting prescriptions, making phone calls to be that friendly voice. I could go on. So many churches have risen to the challenge and have already started to question their accessibility. Thank you for that. Let's keep moving in that direction. Let's keep learning. Let's keep making changes, and let's keep being church family and keep being one in Jesus. Thank you.